thank you everyone for coming back and resuming our Youth Government Day with us. We are going to get started with our mock common council meeting, and we have rotating chairs for this session, so you will meet them as we go. And for our folks that are visiting to observe, I just want to say that I know we're going to have a good time because we have some wonderful and smart students that are participating, and they get it, and I'm glad that they're here. So without further ado, we're going to begin. I'm just going to serve as the parliamentarian, hopefully as quietly as possible, and they'll do all the work.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed your lunch. Welcome to the Mock Common Council meeting. My name is Charmaine, and I will be chairing alongside other planning community members. We will start off with attendance. Start over here. Please say your name and what ward you are from.
My name is Siddiq Ahmed, and I'm second ward.
My name is Nusrat Begum. I'm from the 4th ward.
Alderman Ash Shamrock, 4th ward.
My name is Matt Stiles. I'm from the 3rd ward.
My name is Beyonce Jones. I'm from the 5th ward.
So the first topic of discussion today will be the issue of the dog statues in Hudson, New York. Siddiq, would you like to elaborate?
Yes, hello, my name is Siddiq Ahmed. I represent the 2nd ward. The dog statues appeared in Hudson in the early 2000s, and they ended in 2009. Dog statues are a symbol of our diversity. Each dog has different pictures and arts that are from all over the world. The tourists from different parts of New York come to witness these beautiful and magnificent statues that are placed along Warren Street. Growing up, I would walk down Warren Street with my friends and stare at these dogs in awe. Each dog tells a story through its pictures and arts. Now we have a place like Catskill and Carroll with the bears and cats, but we don't have dogs in Hudson anymore. I wish to motion to bring our dogs back, so that our future generation can grow up and appreciate the arts in our community, just like I did when I was a child.
Is there a second?
Alderman Beyonce, I second this one.
Second, Beyonce. This is now open for discussion. Well, I just want to start off by saying that the original group that had the dog statues on Warren Street no longer exists, so that's the number one problem here. Alderman Siddiq?
I am aware of that, and there's places like Carroll.
Could you please say
Oh,
your
sorry.
word?
My name is Alderman Siddiq, the 2nd ward, and I'm aware that we don't have the same program that we used to. So I was wondering, and put a lot of thought into it, that we can partner with Carroll and Catskill with the same programs, and so that we can come together and bring these dogs back, and later on become independent, so we can work on ourselves, and they can go back to working on their own communities.
Alderman Ash?
Alderman Ash, 4th ward. That's a clever idea, and I just want to say that Hudson is a hub of culture, and I think the dogs will really add to that. They're a beautiful sight to see, and I'm sure the tourists will appreciate it.
Alderman Matt?
Matt Stiles, 3rd ward. I'd just like to say that my main concern is people can easily vandalize and draw images on dogs and completely deface them.
Alderman Nusrat?
Alderman Nusrat, 4th ward. Although you make a good point about vandalizing, this gives people of the community to express the way they feel inside, not just through their exterior, through what they wear for clothes or how bright their clothes are or how they do their hair, but how they actually feel on the inside so they can communicate that to our community.
Alderman Beyonce?
Beyonce Jones from the 5th ward. As Matt has said, these dogs can be vandalized, tarnished, and who's going to pay for all of this? It will cost money, and whose pockets will it come out of?
Alderman Siddiq?
Alderman Siddiq, 2nd ward. These dogs will decorate the streets, and even though we hear the saying the streets are paved with gold, they're truly not. But they can be paved with arts and beauties, and that's something that can't be. It's priceless.
Alderman Ash?
Alderman Ash, 4th ward. Since we're on the topic of prices, how to pay for it, as you know, Hudson is a tourist place, and a lot of tourists come and they stay in places like Airbnbs. As of now, Airbnbs are being taxed like regular businesses. So I think using that tax money from the Airbnbs is the perfect way to pay for them, or at least pay partially for the dogs.
Alderman Beyonce?
Alderman Beyonce from the 5th Ward, as she was said, that we will get tourists, the tax from the tourists and all the money that they bring in. What if the tourism ends up stopping? What will we do then? Who will actually end up paying for it?
Alderman Nusrat?
Alderman Nusrat, 4th Ward. Tourism really won't ever stop. The city keeps growing with beauty and people, so we will continue to have more different and exotic antiques, if you will, and different types of culture brought to this city.
Is there any more discussion? We will now take a vote. All those in favor to motion to bring the dogs back to Hudson, please raise your hands high and say aye.
Aye.
All not in favor, please raise your hands and say nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions? The motion has been carried. Before we transition, I would like to relinquish my chair to Alderman Smith.
I accept Alderwoman Charmin's position as chair. Next on the discussion is Hudson Housing Authority Board. Charmin Akhtar, would you like to elaborate?
Hi, I'm Charmaine from the 2nd Ward. I am introducing today the resolution to request the mayor to renew the board of the Hudson Housing Authority. Recently, members of the community have requested the Common Council to bring this up to the mayor. This is because the current board has done and is still doing nothing involving the housing issues in Hudson. The Bliss Towers has had an inspection and has failed its ratings. Dangerous health hazards are present and the building is not in good shape. If nothing is done, people will be out of a home. I would like to put into motion for the approval of requesting the mayor to renew the board of the Hudson Housing Authority.
Is there a second? Second. Now, the motion is open for discussion. Alderwoman Nusrat?
Alderwoman Nusrat, 4th Ward. As you do make good points about the building being run down and not in its best shape it's been, coming with a new board will also mean coming with a fresh new mind, along with having to give them new training. And training takes time and can be a hassle for the people of the community and the mayor. So what if, in the meantime, when they are being given new training, some problem occurs in the building? Who's going to be there to take care of it?
Alderman Ash?
Alderman Ash, 4th Ward. Well, I see your concern, and there definitely is a problem with that. But with a new housing board comes new ideas and fresh takes on old ones. So I think if a new board comes to power, there really will be good change for Bliss Towers and other housing areas.
Alderman Hamel?
Alderman Hamel of the 2nd Ward. And what if the old board sues for wrongful termination?
Alderwoman Charmin?
Alderwoman Charmaine, 2nd Ward. I understand that's the situation, but if we were to get a new board, Hudson will potentially have a better reputation if it passes its housing ratings and it has a more appealing look to the community.
Alderwoman Amita?
Alderwoman Vida, 2nd Ward. All pros listed are not dependable. How will one know if the new board is going to be more active / helpful?
Alderman Charmin?
Alderman Charmaine, 2nd Ward. We understand that we can't always make sure that we're going to have a more helpful board just because they say, well, they will do something. But what we were thinking of was doing a test run. So we would give a new board a certain amount of time to show the potential and see what changes they can bring to the board. And if they can't bring changes to the board in that certain period of time, we would have to, unfortunately, let them go. We would also be electing members who have realistic policies and realistic ideas.
So we're not going to choose someone who wants to tell us what we want to hear. We're going to choose someone who tells us what we need to hear.
Is there any more topic for discussion? We will now move for a vote. All in favor for moving the new Hudson Housing Authority Board? Say aye.
Aye.
All against, please say nay.
Nay.
The motion has been passed. And I would like to relinquish my position to Brianna Tessera as the chair.
So while we are in transition, this is a good time just to let you know about our topics of discussion. The topics of discussion are proposed by the planning committee. And the Operation Night Youth attend 1 to 2 city hall meetings a month. Seniors have the option of just going to one. So they have a lot of background, and then the folks who join us as an addition on the planning committee are encouraged to attend the meeting as well. But these topics can come from anywhere. There may be an issue that was discussed last year, an issue that is being discussed, that has been discussed currently for this year's government board, or it could be an issue that has not been discussed that they made up that they thought was beneficial. Our topics of discussion proposed by each student has some homework behind it. They choose their topic and they have to write their presentation. They have to choose 3 pros and 3 cons and present that as part of their issue for all of us together here today. After the points that they have written have been raised, everything else that's being said is being ad-libbed. So I just wanted to let you know how hard they're working and what a wonderful opportunity for students who are coming for the first time jump in, and some of them just sound so natural. But I have heard the points, and I know that they're all ad-libbing and jumping in, even the ones who have made their points, they're adding to it. So that's just a little bit of background about our topics, where they come from, and the good work that our aldermen are doing today, and our chairs.
I am now accepting the chair. The meeting is now in session. Next on the agenda, Alderman Asherfield.
Hi, yeah. I'm Oliver Ashful, and I'm representing the 4th Ward. To start, I'd like to debate about a topic that has been heavily debated in the past, which is a dog park. Originally in December, the Common Council voted unanimously against constructing the Hudson Dog Park in Charles Williams Park in Mill Street. For anyone that doesn't know, Mill Street is a dead-end street towards the outskirts of Hudson. And Mill Street contains Charles Williams Park, which has a children's playground as well as a picnic and bench area. Plans were developed to build a somewhat large dog park of over 5,000 square feet. However, residents of Mill Street have listed the complaints. They argued that they weren't even considered in the process, and they argued that it would pose sanitary issues, traffic violations, and noise, which is definitely respectable arguments. They were not opposed to having dog parks, just not in their backyard. Anyway, a dog fit would be a nice fit for Hudson, because there's so many dog walkers in Hudson, and I'm sure they would love to have their dogs play around with other dogs. There's even funding for the project. Over $6,000 was raised through GoFundMe from former Mayor Tiffany Martin Hamilton, and even more was raised through private hands. But the only thing left to figure out is a location. But before we go into that, I think we should have a lot more serious discussion as to whether we should even have one. With that being said, I would like to put into motion the discussion of whether Hudson should even have a dog park. Thank you.
Is the motion second?
A second.
Okay. We will continue. Alderman Sammy?
Alderman Sammy from 2nd Ward. I understand your concerns, and I can see your point of view, but let's come to a reality. Dogs don't understand like humans. They don't have the understanding, and they don't have they don't think like what human thinks. So there could be some aggressive dogs that have the ability to possibly hurt people or children, and even other dogs. And additionally, some owners may not abide to the rules and may leave their dog unattended and let them indulge in inappropriate behaviors.
Alderwoman Aisha?
I'm Alderman Aisha, and I believe that it's important to have a dog park because we have people from all over other cities and towns that would love to share their enjoyment in the same thing, which is having a nice little area where their dogs interact with other dog owners and other dogs as well.
Alderwoman Charmaine?
Alderwoman Charmaine, second word. Dogs can leave their waste behind, and while their owners neglect to clean it up, this could lead to other problems like people falling in it or tripping in it. And I don't know about any of you, but I definitely do not want to be walking and then stepping into dog poop.
Alderwoman Sarah?
Alderwoman Sarah. Well, dogs will have a place to, like, where they could do whatever they want if they have a dog park. And it's a way that children could also learn to play with them. And it's a valuable lesson in dog home.
Alderwoman Katarina?
Alderwoman Carolina of Third Ward, maintenance could be very difficult, especially from the Department of Public Works to regularly check on the park and see how it's going. And it could also have a lot of time and money invested in it that could be focused on something else that needs more attention.
Alderwoman Malaysia?
Alderwoman Malaysia, First Ward, dog walking and other activities increase and allow the owners as well as the dogs to get more exercise. And additionally, it develops social interaction skills and can reduce the feeling of loneliness.
Is there any more discussion on the floor? Okay. Now we're going to take a vote. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All not in favor, say nay.
Nay.
Are there any abstentions? The motion has not been carried. I will now relinquish my chair to Charmaine.
I accept the position of chair. Thank you, Rudy. So the next topic of discussion will be helping saving the youth. Alderman Nusrat, would you like to elaborate?
Hello and good afternoon all. My name is Nusrat Begum and I'm from the 4th Ward. I'm standing before you all today to talk about a very crucial yet sensitive topic. I am here to propose a rethinking of the funds from the DRI to try and include the Hudson Youth Center more than they have. You see, since 2005, funding for the Youth Center has been exponentially decreasing. Some of the kids rely on the center to help them with things they can't get help with at home, with food, homework, joining clubs, and even just talking to friends on an after-school, day-to-day basis. Last year, Hudson City received a $10 million reward as the winner of second round Downtown Revitalization Initiative. Going to some of the meetings, I've noticed that most of the money is going to help renovate old and run-down buildings that haven't even been given a second glance by the people of Hudson. So instead of being given free Wi-Fi throughout the city, why don't we focus on the future of the city, the children? In a few years, these buildings will need more and more renovating considering how old they are getting, but if we give the children cooking classes, sewing classes, dancing, communication help, these trades will stay with them as long as they live. The buildings don't come with that promise. So with everything I have said today, I would like to make a motion that the Hudson City rethink their decision on funding and revitalization and include the Hudson Youth Center in their funds.
Is there a second?
I second.
Alderman Nash? The topic is now open for discussion. Alderman Nash?
Alderman Ash, 4th Ward. Everything is easier said than done, and I think the most important aspect is respect. Children are children, and they can be reckless at many times, and it's just unpredictable how they'll treat the equipment that the money may go for them, whether that's breaking the equipment, using them improperly, or anything else, degrading them. That's a big concern.
We will now move to our Mayor, Vienna Tessera.
Mayor Green, Sarah? Respect might be a factor, but there's also real-life responsibilities. If the youth center was used as a project in renovation along the city of Hudson, they could buy more things like sewing machines, aprons for kids to help cook, and more. The few things can help the kids learn things they wouldn't learn if the center didn't have the money to buy them.
Alderman Sadiq.
Alderman Sadiq, second ward. Yes, there's a lot of issues that we see, but one of the biggest issues are the staffing. How can we be sure that there will be enough staff watching the kids while they're playing with the equipment? After getting new equipment in the center, there will be a lot more kids that want to join and play. And this can, if there's a little amount of equipment or a lot of students or kids come to play, there might not be enough space or staff to watch them.
Alderman Bianchi.
Bianca Jones from the 5th Ward. Because there are so many kids who go to the youth center on a daily basis, the equipment is being used very frequently. With the frequent use of the equipment, there is a chance that it can be broken, tarnished paint will be chipped off, the stickers on the equipment will be taken off. And with more funds, the center can buy the new equipment for the children to play on, to learn, to be able to grow with each other, gain social skills, and stay active with each other. Plus, there isn't always access to new equipment. But with the children, the adults, and the funds, we'll be able to get those equipments for the children.
Alderman Nadia.
Alderwoman Nadia from the 4th quarter. Because there's going to be a lot more equipment new equipment, a lot more kids will want to use them. What if through renovations more people come and there's not going to be enough room in programs for some kids?
Alderman Tanzo.
Alderman Tanzo from 2nd Ward. I really appreciate the idea from Alderwoman Nusrat because the youth director from Hudson, he did some research on the Department of Youth and he found out there are only 2 youth departments in the state and Hudson is one of them. So seeing new things at the center will help the kids who already go to the center and want to bring their friends. This will build common connections between the children and may even spark a new friendship. This will also show kids that you should always stand up for what you believe in. If they have good reasoning and people to stand with them, they can help change the community for the better. Thank you.
Is there any more discussion? Alderman Nusrat.
Alderwoman Nusrat, 4th Ward. Just to go back on the point that Ash said before about respect, this is the part in people's lives where they are influential. So if we teach them how to respect, how to be responsible, and how to even have stewardship within themselves, meaning leaving things the way they found them or even better, it will really help their children in the long run.
Preach.
Preach.
Is there any more discussion? We will now take a vote. All in favor to motion to make the City of Hudson rethink their decision of funding and revitalization, including the Hudson Youth Center, as a project, please raise your hand high and say aye.
Aye.
All not in favor, please raise your hand and say nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions? The motion has been carried. I will now relinquish my chair to Alderman Sadiq.
I accept the position of chair. Now, next on the topic of discussion is composting on Warren Street. Alderwoman Brianna Tessera, would you like to speak on this?
Yes. Alderwoman Brianna Tessera from the 1st Ward. I would like to introduce the topic of composting along Warren Street. If we go for composting, then there would be less trash on the streets and it would make Warren Street appear more eco-friendly. Now with that, the thing I like to bring out is that holidays and nice weather, when that happens, a lot of people come visit the city of Hudson, especially from New York City itself. So we want to make it seem lively. We want to seem that it's just a better place in general. And I think being eco-friendly would help with that. Along with that, it would be a benefit to also the environment around here. Because of composting, it slightly reduces the greenhouse effect, and that would be really helpful. I'd also like to make a motion to have composting on Warren.
Is there a second?
A second.
Now the topic is open for discussion. Alderwoman Shamrat, sorry again. Charmin?
Alderman Tremaine, second word. This idea, I think it just costs money, and as with an undertaking, there's an initial capital to invest. The trade needs to be taking place. The investment includes equipment, space, and of course, training. I think that we should just save our money and not do this.
Alderwoman Pat?
Alderwoman Katarina of Third Ward. I believe that it would be very cost effective. It will help make plenty of money, and it also makes sense in general, being helpful.
Alderman Matt?
Matt Stiles, Third Ward. Composting reduces the carbon footprint. Composting reduces greenhouse gas emissions and turns previously wasted byproduct food consumption into a valuable commodity. It's a commodity that can be used to grow plants and trees that also reduce greenhouse gases in the atmosphere.
Alderman Nusrat?
Alderwoman Nusrat, 4th Ward. As well as being very cost effective, this also requires a lot of effort. And I don't know about you guys, but I like taking the easy way out. It's easy to take food scraps, throw them in the garbage, and take them to a landfill, never to be thought again, right? This also requires a lot of education to teach people how to separate food scraps from waste and waste from food scraps, etc.
Alderwoman Brianna?
Alderwoman Brianna from First Ward. To go off the whole, it requires effort on the incinerators. When it comes with incinerators, there's a lot of ash that comes out, which causes air pollution, and just more than just air pollution, it's just pollution in general. But with that, there's a lot of harmful environmental effects. So I think it'd be more wisely to educate people on how to compost than to just put pollution into the air and the surrounding area.
Alderwoman Malaysia?
From Malaysia, composting may require paid labor. If it does, it's going to add to your bottom line.
Alderman Ash?
Alderman Ash, 4th Ward. There's a saying that I like to go by, waste not, want not. Composting is simply the right thing to do in terms of ethics and how we treat the environment. It's the most effective way to take most out of the food and products we consume. Like someone said earlier, it's cost effective. By not wasting these, you reduce the overall impact of the environment, and it's something from everyone will benefit.
Alderman Brianna?
Alderwoman Brianna, First Ward. After hearing the arguments today, I move to table the motion due to needing more information for everybody.
There'll be a vote on tabling the motion. All in favor for tabling the compost on Warren, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All against, please raise your hand and say no. Nay?
Nay.
The composting on Warren will be tabled. Thank you. Now I relinquish my position as chair. Brianna Patel.
I now accept the position of council chairman. Okay. The meeting is now in session. Next on the agenda, Alderman Sammy.
Hi, I'm Alderman Sammy. I'm from the 2nd Ward. I would like to introduce the topic of the increase in parking meter price. The purpose of parking meter price in the city of Hudson are for safety, convenience, and accommodation of the public, etc. Now, an increase in parking meter prices would lead to people's discomfort. Currently, the parking meter price of the city of Hudson is 25 cents per hour. Places like San Francisco, Arlington have taken the matter of high parking pricing into consideration. So I make a motion that the common council agrees to not increase the parking meter prices so that everyone is satisfied. Thank you.
Is the motion second? The motion has been seconded by Alderwoman Aisha. We will now begin. Alderwoman Aisha?
Alderman Aisha, third ward. If the prices continue to stay the same way that they are, this will result in higher taxes for the rest of the local population, and other things like sales and property will also have to be high taxed, and there will be a very small amount of income that will be left for the government.
Alderman Sammy?
Alderman Sammy, second ward. The government gets a very small amount of income from parking, so it's not that big of an issue that you're making. Thank you.
Alderman Hemmel?
Alderman Hamel, second ward, and I say that if parking meter prices stay the same, people of the city of Hudson will be more satisfied.
Alderman Ash?
Alderman Ash, fourth ward. Income is income, and the government's income will be reduced, which will increase total debts in Hudson.
Alderman Sammy?
Alderman Sammy, the parking meter prices will be kept the same, so the government will be still getting the income from the source, but not a lot.
Alderwoman Sharmeen?
Alderman Sharmeen, second ward. Usually if parking meter prices are high, people decide to park on other people's properties or anywhere they can find a spot where it won't cost them money. So if the parking meter price is less, that will decrease car owner parking on other people's property.
Is there any more discussion? We're now going to take a vote. All those in favor of not increasing the parking meter prices, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor say nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions? The motion has not been carried. Are there any questions from the community for the alderman today? Ms. Scott?
So I've gone to a few meetings, right? And so there's only like a few meetings that like allow you to have community participation. Why don't you do that in every meeting? Because there may be some where like someone has something really important to say that can, you know, change someone's decision by a landslide. I don't get it.
I can answer that. Since I'm often the one who determines this in terms of the Common Council, there are a lot of rules about open meetings, and people often misunderstand that an open meeting doesn't mean it's open to everybody just saying whatever they want, whenever they want. It would create a certain level of confusion to pause and let the public in general respond to every single moment in the council meeting. There's always public comment at the end of the meeting or when it's open to the public. But while we're discussing, just like you did, we don't open it up necessarily to public comment because it could go on forever. And what's open is the fact that you're allowed to be here at all times to a meeting. And you can write us, you can call us, you can stop us on the street and yell at us. But that doesn't work out well in a meeting, you know? And, you know, it's a way of just keeping order to a degree. But you do get a chance to talk. There's always a chance for the public to talk.
Mr. Mayor Rector?
Why dogs and not whales?
It requires a lot of water.
Very good, Mayor.
Yes?
One thing I wanted to add is that there always is a public comment period too. Before laws go into effect, there's a public hearing. So the public is invited for public hearings before these actual laws do go into effect. So there's other areas as well that the public can comment.
Yes, Ashiko?
Yeah, so as you might know, there's Robert's Rules of Order, but they aren't always followed. So what's the punishment for not following them?
Generally, it's usually, I think, 10 years. No, there really aren't harsh rules. You can ask a member to leave. And beyond that, you can ask a sergeant at arms to escort the member out. Now, we don't technically have a sergeant at arms, but believe it or not, you may have noticed a little button up there. You know what that little button is?
Yeah.
Who said yeah? Oh, that's to summon the police.
Yeah.
And if someone was unruly, whether on the council or in the audience, the police would escort them out of the room.
I pressed that one up there.
You did? Well,
Thank you.
okay.
Came up in our planning committee meetings about when you can ask somebody to leave, so thank you for addressing that. We also talked about when you have like the public hearings that people can come in and sign in and how you do it, you know, in a certain order. But we have a lot of folks who we just haven't seen it yet, so we just keep attending the meetings and eventually we'll see as much. But we did talk about the fact that people over the years have been rude and disrespectful to each other. And someone asked today, you know, can we throw tables or chairs? You know, and they said, no, we can't. And unfortunately, we haven't seen it, but there are other council meetings that have been televised and even international meetings, and we see really disruptive behavior. But I can tell you that for the youth who come to the city hall meetings, when we have our post discussions, the heated meetings get talked about a lot, and that's natural. People, if there's an argument or a debate or a fight at school or something, everybody gravitates. And of course, that energy goes back to our discussions and our students, and they talk about the argument, or if we thought the police was going to come, or if there was going to be a fight. But the bottom line is, we get to see the behavior, and we've had really great discussions about how rude and disrespectful some of the council members have been. One of the things that was brought out this morning from Alderman Kamal Johnson and Alderman Dominic Moranti was the fact that starting with 99.9% new council members and everybody here today, that everybody's pretty much has agreed to be civil. And everybody's taking it, you know, slowly but surely and really being respectful. So I think that was a great message for our students to hear about how we're, you know, going forward.
Kamal?
I just have a question. So for, like she said, a lot of us were new, basically the whole council except for Alderman Garriga. So I want to ask you guys, how did it feel up there when everyone's watching you and you get cheers or groans from the public? So how did that feel?
We're the future.
So I personally love talking in front of big groups and big groups of people. And especially like not to like say anything, but like people older than me, so they can like, you know, come back and talk to me and give me a second opinion. So I actually liked everyone watching me and just like, you know, grabbing the attention and even the little applause. Like that made me feel really good.
Last call, any questions?
That motion has been made.
So our chairs are the senior members of our planning committee, and let's see, we have Charmaine Actor. Charmaine, how many years have you participated?
I think this is my third year.
Third year. Okay, so you started as a sophomore, and we have Bree.
This is my second year of youth government day.
Okay, and Sadiq.
This is my second year as well.
Is this your first year?
First year chair, second year of doing Youth Government Day. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And for everyone else, just so we review, how many folks are coming for their first time? Great amount. And for the second time returning? Okay, our juniors, who are our juniors? Okay, good amount. That means we're going to have a better Youth Government Day next year. Our planning committee juniors are and NUSHREC. So now you know what you're in for, because they are going to be the veterans coming back with seniors, and chances are they are going to be sharing the chair, or there may be one chair. It depends on how they decide it's going to be. But now you know what you're in for and what we're up against, and I'm sure we're going to have some really, really great topics. And if not great topics, great discussions, good debates. So thank you all for participating. Thank you everyone for coming out, and all of you for coming back, because this is a compliment to us, for you to come and see what we're doing to show interest. And as you can see, you have already planted some seeds by applauding and appreciating them, that we're going to probably have a couple of city officials coming out of this group.
Yay.